WNBA free agency is officially underway, Annie. So when you see these names and the options that the Sky have, what do you think that they're cooking up?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because Angel and Camilla are very interesting pieces. And when you're talking about, you know, getting the right players in here, there is intrigue when you have young core pieces like that, because you could be part of developing them and developing towards a title contending season. But the reality is the Sky are still very far from.
Angel Reese kicked off her podcast brimming with confidence, boldly proclaiming she was building a dynasty in Chicago. Fast forward to today, and the reality paints a starkly different picture. Free agency has been a whirlwind, yet Chicago's roster remains a ghost town. Top-tier free agents have surveyed their options and given the Sky a resounding no.
You don't get told no. Like, you're going to get the yeses. You're going to get more yeses than nos, and just being able to know that. So I'm excited for that. I know that's going to come.
Not a single all-star has been swayed to join the Sky. While rival teams have stacked their rosters with elite talent, Chicago is left grasping for solutions. Free agency was meant to be Reese's golden opportunity to craft a championship-worthy squad, especially after all the heavy recruiting she did it unrivaled. Instead, it's spiraling into a harsh wake-up call. Is this the clearest sign, yet that players across the league simply aren't sold on whatever Reese is trying to build in Chicago? Let's dive into the details of this free agency fiasco.
The whole city is obsessed with you.
I know. I love it
all
here.
the time.
I feel like Baltimore here. I love it here. It does.
Kind of. A little bit. Little DMV action. Yeah. But you know, Chicago is the #3 market in the country.
Really?
It's New York, LA, and then Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago, y'all have everything. I'm not gonna lie, y'all have everything here. Like, it's nothing here that I'm like, oh, I gotta go to a different city for. Like, everything has been here.
Angel Reese boldly declared she was assembling a super team in Chicago, but as free agency unfolds, the only thing the Sky have built is a roster shrouded in uncertainty. Imagine this. Reese, phone in hand, scrolling through her contacts, firing off messages, making calls, only to be met with radio silence, unread texts, and a string of polite rejections.
Angel Reese and Camilla Cardoso, too, have brought relevance to this team that they've desperately needed in a time when, again, if not for them, they'd be completely irrelevant because of the product that they're putting on the floor.
And also make Chicago an attractive spot when you have Angel Reese and Camilla Cardoso right there, two bigs that really shined in their rookie.
With so many top-tier free agents available, you'd think at least one would be bound for Chicago, right? Wrong. The silence has been deafening. No blockbuster signings, no celebratory tweets, and no championship-caliber stars booking their flights to the Windy City. Just Reese, left scrolling, waiting, and wondering where it all went wrong.
So, lads, this is not great news, you know, for the Chicago Sky, who are a team that obviously, look, they're rebuilding. This is a team that is 100% rebuilding. The problem is they don't own their pick. So if the Chicago Sky run it back, they're probably not making the playoffs next year. Look, I think there's going to be an improvement from Angel Reese. I think it's going to be an improvement from Cardoso. But that team with no Kennedy Carter, it's going to be real tough to get any offensive.
Let's break down the star-studded list of free agents who are up for grabs. Kelsey Plum, Jewel Lloyd, Brittany Griner, Alyssa Thomas, DeWanna Bonner, Natasha Howard, Sada Sabali, and Kelsey Mitchell. These are the kind of game changers that can redefine a franchise overnight. And how many of them gave Chicago serious consideration? Not a single one. Maybe there was still hope. Maybe Reese had a master plan lurking in the shadows. But now that the biggest names have locked in their new homes, one thing is crystal clear. Chicago was never a real contender in free agency. Reese's ambitious recruiting mission? It wasn't just a failure. It was an unmitigated disaster.
Oh, not a good day for the Chicago Sky. Not a good day at all, because we have heard news from the journalist who reports on the WNBA, and because she is not a homer like a lot of the other people, like normally journalists are complete homers for one team. One of the actual credible journalists reported on something. Sky fans aren't happy. They all want their fight.
To make matters worse, the Sky's front office didn't do Reese any favors either. Their leading scorer, Chindy Carter, didn't even get a qualifying offer. A loud and clear message that Chicago isn't committed to keeping its best players, let alone attracting new ones. Meanwhile, trade rumors fizzle out just as quickly as they started. It's almost as if the moment Reese tried to sell free agents on her super team vision, they bolted in the opposite direction.
Kennedy had an incredible season for us last year, says the GM.
she's extremely talented and is a player that can impact the game at the highest level in our league. We absolutely appreciate all she did for our team last year. However, we've made changes to our staff and we'll make changes to our roster. Those changes impact Kennedy's fit on the team, so we wanted to give her the best opportunity as a free agent.
So where does that leave Angel Reese, the so-called superstar who was supposed to lure elite talent to Chicago? Instead of leading a powerhouse, she might be stuck guiding a squad of role players and rookies. This isn't the dream team she envisioned. It's a harsh reality check as, oh, what went wrong? Why did every top free agent take one look at Chicago and decide it wasn't worth their time? Let's break it all down.
Is Angel Reese, did she just run a coach out of town, and is she running a player out of town? Their best shooter out of town? Because Kennedy Carter looks like she's ready to book it out of Chicago.
While Angel Reese was busy hyping up Chicago as the next WNBA powerhouse, the league's top free agents were making moves that left the sky in the rearview mirror. Picture this, a whirlwind of signings, superstars securing their spots, and teams locking in talent. Teams that had everything Chicago lacked: stability, leadership, and a legitimate shot at a championship. Let's take a closer look at where the real stars chose to shine.
Seattle Storm are sending Jewell Loyd to the Las Vegas Aces in a blockbuster 3-team trade that moves Kelsey Plum to the LA Sparks. That's according to ESPN. As part of the deal, Seattle receives the second pick in this year's WNBA draft from LA in exchange for the Storm's number 9 pick, while the Aces also receive the 13th pick, a second-round selection from the Sparks.
First up, Kelsey Plum. You remember her, right? The lethal sharpshooter who played a massive role in Las Vegas's back-to-back championships. Well, she's packing her bags for Los Angeles. That's right, the Sparks just became a serious contender. And why LA over Chicago? Simple. Elite coaching, a front office that actually has a plan, and a franchise that isn't drowning in chaos. Sorry, Angel, but that one stung. What happened with Jewell Loyd had to be downright humiliating. Loyd, a Chicago native, had the perfect opportunity to come home and lead her city. If teaming up with Angel Reese was so enticing, this should have been a no-brainer, right? Wrong. Loyd took one look at the Sky situation and sprinted in the opposite direction. Straight to Las Vegas, where she'll be joining forces with Aya Wilson. That's right. She chose championship contention over whatever mess is unfolding in Chicago.
According to WNBA Insider, that Illinois native Jewell Loyd will not be going to Chicago Sky. And obviously they didn't keep Kennedy Carter. And it's looking like one player, obviously, that's been in Chicago across her careers because of her Illinois roots, is Seattle Storm guard Jewell Loyd.
Then there's Brittany Griner, the dominant center who can throw down dunks with ease. She's off to Atlanta, joining a dream team that just became even more dangerous. Meanwhile, Alyssa Thomas, the queen of triple-doubles, is now calling Phoenix home. See the pattern? These stars didn't just pass on Chicago. They sprinted toward teams with structure, leadership, and a clear vision. They chose places where they could thrive, not franchises weighed down by uncertainty and locker room drama.
The 3 big names you gotta know: Alyssa Thomas, Natasha Cloud, Brittany Griner. Let's start with Brittany Griner, joining Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard in Atlanta. Dream team? Brittany Griner was drafted to Phoenix in 2013, so it's kind of about time, and I'm so excited to see what Atlanta turns around this next season, because they really need her. Phoenix is also losing Natasha Cloud and Beck Allen, along with the number 12 pick overall in this year's draft, to Connecticut. Connecticut is giving up the triple-double queen, Alyssa Thomas, and Ty Harris.
Speaking of Phoenix, things get even worse for Angel Reese. Not only did Alyssa Thomas land there, but she's teaming up with Sada Sabali, a lethal duo that instantly makes the Mercury a serious contender. But here's where the real sting kicks in. While Reese was busy striking out on recruits, the IndianaFever were out here making power moves, assembling a roster built for championship contention. The Fever just pulled off the ultimate off-season masterclass, bringing in battle-tested veterans like Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner, Sydney Colson, and Sophie Cunningham. Oh, and just to twist the knife a little deeper, they even snatched Reese's own former teammate Brianna Turner right from under her nose. And as if that wasn't enough, they re-signed Kelsey Mitchell. Just like that, Indiana transformed from a promising young squad into a legitimate title threat. While Chicago, well, they stood still, watching the competition leave them in the dust.
And the people online and the media commentators, unfortunately, who said that nobody wanted to play in Indiana. That doesn't make any sense.
So, what does all this mean? It means Angel Reese talked a big game, but the real stars weren't buying it. Not only did top free agents reject Chicago, but they actively strengthened the very teams that will stand in the Sky's way. It's almost as if they all saw the warning signs and chose to steer clear of the drama before it even began. But wait, there's one more move that might just be the final dagger in Reese's so-called super team dreams. Want to hear more? Angel Reese, once proudly boasting about turning Chicago into a powerhouse, now finds herself staring at NBA lockers and unanswered texts. Reality is hitting hard. Her dream of recruiting top-tier talent has unraveled into a full-blown nightmare at this point. It's feeling less like an all-star squad and more like a pickup team at the local YMCA.
Just trying to give myself some grace because I know I'm not the player that I want to be just yet, but also kind of patting myself on the back, telling myself that I'm still doing.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, or rather, the glaring absence of elite talent in the Sky's practice facility. Did you know that Chicago's current setup is basically a high school gym compared to the rest of the WNBA? While teams like the Fever, Liberty, and Aces are sharpening their skills in state-of-the-art training centers, the Sky are stuck in a time warp, and that long-awaited new facility, it won't be ready until 2026 to INA League evolving at lightning speed. That might as well be a decade away.
Every woman should be able to step in and be able to go into a locker room and be able to have a safe space, or go into a gym at 3 o'clock in the morning where they want to do that. So I want to be able to just invest. It's just been great being able to see my impact on and off the court, and not just in sports, but just being able to be a cultural impact as well has just been.
According to league sources, Weatherspoon had lost the locker room because of a culture that catered to the needs of a few players. Dear Lord.